Hey guys, it's your boy Easy, and on today's episode of Easy's Garage, I'll show you how to remove the fuel tank and change the air filter on a Royal Enfield Himalayan 450. Okay, so to get started removing the fuel tank, all you need to do is remove the front and the rear seats, and then we're just gonna have to undo 3 fasteners, 1, 2, 3, and I believe there are 5 mm. Okay, 3 fasteners. There are also 3 washers, so make sure you don't lose them. Okay, with the fasteners undone, you can lift the tank up slightly, pull it back just a little, and place a wooden block underneath or something to hold the tank up. And that's because you'll have access to everything that you need to disconnect. So you'll see there'll be the fuel line. There'll be a couple of breather hoses that we need to disconnect. Those should be easy. Those are 2 rubber hoses right here. There'll be 2 electrical connectors. One for the fuel pump. Let me see if I can find it. It's behind the fuel line. And I believe on the other side, there'll be another connector, electrical connector for the fuel gauge. So let me get these undone first, and then we'll move to the other side to disconnect the fuel gauge connector. Okay, sorry I couldn't film it, me disconnecting all this, because it was a little hard to get the angles, but I'll show it to you once I remove the tank. Okay, moving to the right side of the bike, again underneath the fuel tank, right here, that's the fuel gauge connector. So we're gonna disconnect that. I'm not gonna film it because it's gonna be hard, but let me go ahead and disconnect this. We'll remove the fuel tank and then we'll look at all the connectors again. Okay, so with all the connectors and hoses disconnected, now we should just be able to lift the tank up and pull it out. And that's it. Okay, now that the tank is off, I just want to show you all the hoses and connectors that we undid. So the 2 breather hoses are right here. These are rubber hoses, so these should be relatively easy to unplug. Just yank them out with a little force. This is the fuel line. This one, you got to press the yellow tab here, and then there's one more here. Squeeze it and then pull it out. This might take a little bit of effort. It helps if you have skinny fingers. Then the electrical connectors right behind the fuel line will be the fuel pump connector. And don't yank on it, but there'll be a tab on one side right here. So press this tab in and then pull it out. This should be relatively easy. And on the right side of the bike, right side of the tank, this is the fuel gauge connector. This is the female. The male part of the connector is what's connected to the fuel tank. And again, don't yank on it. Use something like a very tiny flathead screwdriver. There'll be a tab here on the male connector, which is what is hooking onto the female connector. So press the tab in and then pull the connector out. Make sure not to damage the connector. Really careful when you're using something as sharp as a flathead screwdriver. Okay, so to get the air filter out, you just need to undo these 3 fasteners. You'll need a 4 mm Allen key or 4 mm hex bit. Okay, with the fasteners out, now we can take out the air filter cover and take out the old air filter. After a nice wipe, we're ready to put the new air filter in. I'll put the part number in the description. This is from Royal Enfield, but you can buy a third-party one if you want. And just make sure it seats fully onto that opening. Okay, there you go, it's fully seated. Now we can put the air filter cover on. Put your 3 fasteners back on. There are no torque specs for these, so just tighten them snug, but not too tight. Okay, so we're ready to put our fuel tank back on. The fuel tank will rest on these supports here, and there's one on the right side, and they have these little rubber things on them. Again, just like you took it out, now you just gotta do the reverse, basically slide it back in. I'm gonna put a wooden block here because I need to hook up all the hoses and the connectors from underneath. On the left side of the bike, we got 4 things to hook up. We got these 2 breather hoses, these 2 rubber hoses. You won't get them mixed up because they're different sizes. Let me show you. I think so. This is the thin one, and this is a slightly bigger one. We got the fuel pump connector, which connects right here, and then finally we got the fuel rail where the fuel actually exits from, and that goes right here. Okay, all done. You will hear nice audible clicks when you hook in the fuel rail as well as the fuel pump connector, the electrical connector. That's when you know it's fully connected. You got one more connector to connect on the right side of the tank. This is for the fuel gauge. With everything connected and hooked up, we can take out these wooden blocks and fasten these 3 fasteners that we took out earlier, 5 mm to 10 Newton meters or 89 inch-pounds. And that's how you remove the fuel tank and change the air filter on a Royal Enfield Himalayan 450. Hope you guys liked this video. If you did, hit the like and subscribe button. Until next time, it's your boy Easy signing out. Take care, guys.